We are back with breaking news out of the Supreme Court. Just moments ago, the court granted a temporary pause on the appeals court order that banned the most commonly used abortion pill, mifepristone, from being mailed to patients. So this means access is restored, at least for now. It comes after the drug's manufacturer, as well as 21 states, asked the court to block that order. The FDA greenlit prescription abortion pills via telehealth under the Biden administration back in 2021. Let's go to MS Now senior legal reporter Lisa Rubin and Molly Megan, chief legal officer and general counsel at the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists. Lisa, what more do we know about this new administrative stay?
Well, Anna, the key to this is administrative stay. Justice Alito, who is the justice who oversees the Fifth Circuit of the United States Court of Appeals, is putting a pause on that decision from the Fifth Circuit that blocked a regulation of the FDA that expanded access to abortion medication such that people didn't need to go in person to visit their doctors and could obtain abortion medication through telehealth. Now the Supreme Court is putting a pause on that order, but for 1 week through May 11th at 5 p.m. to give the parties more time to brief the question, but more importantly, to give Justice Alito's colleagues time to also share with him in this decision-making. So I want to emphasize that while people will be able to get access to abortion medication this week, including through the mail, that is for 1 week and 1 week only until the Supreme Court further acts. That means that broadly, access to abortion medication in this country is still very much at risk. And the doctors that Molly works with each and every day are facing severe uncertainty about how they can prescribe abortion medication to their patients and where they can prescribe it. That's a situation that many in this country will find untenable, given that nearly 2/3 of abortions in this country at this point are performed through medication abortion. Anna?
And Molly, you were in Washington, D.C. over the weekend alongside more than 100 reproductive health physicians. That initial Fifth Circuit decision came down just as you were giving a presentation. Now the court has issued this stay, restoring access, at least for now, it appears. What is the impact of this legal back and forth? How are doctors and patients supposed to navigate it?
Very difficult to be an OBGYN in this country at the moment. It's even more difficult to be a patient trying to obtain basic, essential reproductive health care. Mifepristone, the drug at issue in these cases, is one of the safest, most studied medications available. It's part of essential reproductive health care, and the confusion wrought by these decisions has really monumental impacts on care in the United States.
How much do patients depend on telehealth to access this drug?
There are large portions of our country that we term maternity care deserts. There are many, many millions of people across the country that have difficulty obtaining care through the normal processes. They can't travel. They need to go 2-3 hours to get care. They need child care. They need time off work. The ability to obtain medical treatment through telehealth has been a huge bonus for medical care across the United States. There is no reason that reproductive health care shouldn't be part of that as well.
And Molly, mifepristone is typically used in combination with a second drug, misoprostol, which was not affected by that initial Fifth Circuit ruling. If access is ultimately taken away when it comes to mifepristone, would that be a standalone alternative?
Misoprostol is absolutely a safe alternative to medication abortion and to miscarriage management. It is not as easy. It is not as effective. It is not the first line that we would use, but it is absolutely safe and can be used in the same circumstances.
Lisa, explain where this legal battle goes next.
Well, we're going to hear from the parties, Anna, on Monday on the issue of whether the Supreme Court should more long-term block this decision of the Fifth Circuit, which would secure medication abortion access for some period of time. But I want to situate it also in the context of where abortion law in this country sits right now. After Roe versus Wade was overturned, the decision that the court administered in Dobbs says that the will of the people should be what governs abortion access in this country. And so when we're talking about those 21 states that submitted an amicus brief here, their position isn't just that mifepristone is safe and that the studies clinically reflect its safety, but also that Louisiana and other states that are seeking to ban abortion entirely are blocking them from their own state sovereignty and expanding access to abortion. They say that their sovereignty counts here too, and the Supreme Court is going to have to navigate that and its prior precedent in the Dobbs decision when it confronts this, Anna, as early as next week.
Molly, if the Supreme Court ultimately decides this restriction is allowed to stand, what are your biggest concerns?
Well, just as in the Dobbs decision, the Fifth Circuit's decision focused in on maximum application of these very restrictive and harmful abortion bans. In fact, neither of those opinions took into account the interests of the patients, the women that need this basic essential reproductive health care. My biggest concern is that, once again, the medicine, the evidence, the science will not control what kind of care is available to women when it comes to their reproductive health. And instead, the political process will determine that, especially when the political process is specific to one state attempting to impose its will on all 50 other states.